myself a slice of time when the wind blows, when the river meets the sea.
In addition to a knife, a good solid axe is a very useful tool to have for bushcraft. Now the axes I use are made by Gränsfors Bruks in Sweden, and you even have the maker's initials stamped into the blade here, Lennart Peterson. Now a small forest axe is about the size of my fingertips to my elbow in length, which makes it very useful. It can be put into a rucksack and it can be carried, it's not too heavy. From a safety perspective, it's very important to plan the way you cut so that every cut is away from yourself. And the position I'm in here, if I slip, all that's going to happen is it'll hit the log. So what I'm doing is just shaping the handle of the spoon now. And an axe really does take a lot of the effort out of carving. A job that would take an hour with a knife could be done in about 20 minutes with an axe. But it does take a bit of practice to get used to using one. Now, a lot of people think that an axe is just for splitting and you don't have to worry about keeping it too sharp. And as you can see by the way I'm using it, that's not true at all. Your axe should be every bit as sharp as your knife. Another thing with an axe is that you can hold it in a lot of different ways. So as well as using it as a splitting tool by holding it at the end of the handle, you can hold it further towards the head, which reduces the amount of leverage you have, but it increases the amount of control you have over the blade. You can even hold the head of the axe and use it in this way for some very fine carving, and possibly even use it to replace a knife. Under certain circumstances, this could be used for fine jobs like preparing game or even making the hearth for a fire bow. So in many cases, if you have no knife and you have an axe, you're probably better off. One of the problems with a small forest axe is because of its short handle length, if you try to use it in a standing position, it'll just come into your leg. So a good way to avoid that is to stand astride a piece of wood. So I've raised it up just an inch or so on another piece. Position it so that the front of the log you're trying to split is level with your ankles. And then we need to deliver a short, sharp blow. Another method for splitting wood is to split it onto a good firm surface, ideally a tree stump or a log like this. Now be always very aware of the potential for the axe upon missing to come into your leg, so you always have to anticipate and expect and plan so that the axe head hits the log and not your leg. So it's always good to practice your position first of all and just decide where you want to hit. And then when you decide, bring the axe down and split the wood. This is a very useful thing to have. As well as using it to sharpen an axe, you can use it to sharpen a knife. And it's a diamond steel. And basically it's a piece of steel that's impregnated with industrial diamonds. And if you look very closely in the sunlight, you can see it twinkling. And these are these miniature diamonds. So as we rub our blade against the metal surface, the metal's worn away, exposing the tips of these diamonds. And the way to use it is to very carefully, running in very small circles, just aim to take a very small amount of metal off each time. Now by doing it in this position, it allows me to see the exact angle of the blade as I'm running it. So once you've done one side of the blade, you can then turn it over and start working on the other side. And doing it this way really gives you a good view of the angle of the blade so that you know how much metal you're taking off. And that's a pretty good edge.
I'll be waiting, cut myself a slice of time when the